Chapter 1. The name is Resident Evil. Zheng Zha's life tasted like photocopy toner and cafeteria steam. 24 years old, a college graduate and salaried employee. By every measure that mattered to his parents, he'd succeeded. So why did his chest feel hollow? His apartment was a box where he slept. His office was a box where he worked. The train between them was a box of jostling crowds, boxes within boxes, each one smaller than the last, until he'd compressed himself into something he didn't want to be. When did everything start to rot? The thought arrived without drama, like discovering mold behind wallpaper. The pop-up window appeared without warning. Black, blocky text on a white background, no corporate logo, no browser eye candy. Do you want to escape your life? Do you want to live, truly live? Yes, no. Zheng frowned. A virus. His cursor moved toward no, then stopped, hovering over the button. When had he last felt genuinely, viscerally alive? He shook his head. This was stupid. Any rational person would click no, run a malware scan, and return to their spreadsheet. But rationality had built this life and brought him here. This careful, measured, utterly meaningless progression of identical days leading from birth toward death. Zheng clicked yes. The world shattered into an infinity of thrumming white light. Cold metal against Zheng's cheek woke him. The floor trembled with the rhythm of rails. He was on a train car lit by guttering fluorescence, half the bulbs dead. 5 strangers lay sprawled nearby, while farther down, Westerners in tactical vests checked assault rifles like commuter passes. His left wrist itched. A black metal watch hugged his skin, seamless as if it had grown there. Its face wasn't glass, but something dark and glossy, lit from within. A countdown timer burned at the center. Phase 0741. Below it, points 07. Fresh meat, a voice said from above. A scarred man in a black coat squatted opposite Zheng, cigarette burning between thumb and forefinger. His hair was so dark it drank the light. Old, pale ridges crossed his forearm, scars that mapped a history no office job produced. Name's Jie. His voice carried the flat amusement of someone who'd memorized every possible punchline. You're the best of this batch. Calm. His gaze raked over Zheng like an appraiser checking for cracks. Zheng's mouth was dry. Where is this? Jie exhaled smoke through his nose. Think. You already know. It got inserted the moment you clicked. Clicked. The word hooked into him. Zheng's mind skittered back. Pop-up window, yes button, white screen. Then, like a file unzipping inside his skull, unfamiliar knowledge unfolded. Rules, numbers, a watch, movies that weren't movies. A game. Not the kind played on screens, ones played with flesh and blood and consequences. Around him, people stirred. A middle-aged woman clutched her arm. A chubby young man pounded the wall, making the compartment ring.
This is kidnapping! Where are the police?
Jie pushed off the wall and crossed the space in 3 steps. A desert eagle appeared in his hand. He grabbed the chubby man by the collar and shoved the muzzle into his open mouth. The sound that came out was wet and animal.
Listen!
Jie's voice was terrifyingly level. If you want to keep your teeth and your life, shut up and think! The mercenaries watched like professionals watching a dogfight in an alley. Not their problem unless it threatened the mission. Jie pressed the gun deeper.
You think this is a prank? Think you'll wake up in bed if you die here?
His bloodshot eyes swept the compartment. I survived 3 movies. In the first, I watched a man get dragged into his own nightmare. Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy's claws. His voice came out as a growl. He screamed until there was nothing left to scream with. Zheng believed him. Not because the story convinced, because the man's pupils didn't dilate the way they did when people performed. This wasn't drama, it was a wound reopening. Jie eased the pistol back. If you're suicidal, do it now. Save us the trouble. The chubby man sagged, sobbing. A girl with glasses had watched without flinching. She pushed her frames up with 2 fingers, calm in a way that made Zhang uneasy. Returning, she said clearly. Is it possible? Jie took a drag. Your body is here, your mind is here. Don't cling to the fantasy that you're lying in a hospital bed. His gaze sharpened. But yes, there's a way.
So there is hope!
He barked a short laugh. Hope costs money. Points. Zhang heard himself say, the inserted knowledge clicking into place. The watch tracks points. Jie looked at him again. Not completely useless. Listen up. He lifted his wrist, displaying the same black watch, but his showed far more information, additional readouts glowing beneath the countdown. Each movie is a mission. Survive, and you get 1,000 points. It costs 50,000 to return home. 50 movies? The glasses girl asked. If you never spend a point. Which is a joke, because you'll spend or you'll die. He tapped his pistol. This cost me 100. Unlimited ammunition. If you survive, you can buy shop equipment and physical enhancements, intelligence, reaction time, vitality, muscle density. Everything about you can be priced. The middle-aged woman's voice cracked. Who made this? Nothing human. For the first time, his certainty sounded like devotion, or terror dressed as devotion. Devil, alien, future human. Whatever built this operates on scales we can't comprehend. Zhang didn't know which frightened him more, the claim, or that the man seemed to need it to be true. Side rewards exist, Jay continued. Kill things, complete tasks, help or harm others, explaining the rules to newbies, 100 points. The chubby man's face flushed. So you're only being so charming and helpful to get paid? Yes. The glasses girl leaned forward. If there are rewards, then what about penalties? Always. Jay turned his wrist so the watch face caught the light. Kill counts. Zombies have a price. Liquor's better. He tapped a label. Newbie. Players? Zhang asked. Quick learner. Jay smiled without humor. Killing a newbie costs negative 1,000 points. So you can't kill us? A teenage boy blurted. I didn't say can't. I said it costs. The train's vibration changed pitch, slowing. Through a narrow window, concrete and industrial lights rushed past. The blonde mercenary checked his wrist. Zhang noticed a faint shimmer around him, almost like heat haze. That's one, Jay said, the team leader. He's also your lifeline. What do you mean? The glasses girl asked. Jay's tone hardened. Read your watches. Rule 1, stay within 300 feet of 1, always. Fall out of range, he made a gesture like snapping a twig, you die. The system doesn't warn, it just kills. Zhang's watch ticked. Oro 4112. One spoke to his team in English. Zhang caught fragments. Hive, entry, contamination. The Hive, Umbrella, Resident Evil. His mouth went dry. He'd watched the film years ago, disposable entertainment. Now the images rose vivid and sharp. Sealed doors, sterile corridors, sudden screams, teeth. Jay saw it on his face. You've seen it. Good. Then you know how lucky we are. The train jerked and stopped. The doors hissed open. Cold air rolled in, carrying wet concrete and something chemical underneath. The platform was lit by harsh industrial lamps, too clean to be abandoned, too empty to be active. Umbrella logos marked doors and warning placards like a corporate signature on a tomb. The mercenaries moved out first, rifles up. The others spilled after, clustering instinctively. Zheng stayed close to one. The 300-foot rule gripped his attention, tugging at him like a leash. A woman in a red dress stood among the mercenaries, dazed, pale, but with something coiled beneath the surface. Alice, real, not an actress, a person who hadn't asked to be written into this story. Jie fell into step beside Zheng. "One more rule," he said quietly. "Once the plot starts, don't run your mouth in front of them." "In front of who?" the teenage boy asked. "The characters." Jie's eyes flicked toward Alice. "Talk about things you shouldn't know. Spoilers, world knowledge. The system charges you heavily." Zheng swallowed. His movie knowledge could save him. It could also bankrupt him. They reached the inner door. A mercenary keyed in a code. The lock clanked, and the door swung inward with a pressure seal releasing. Beyond was darkness and sterile air, trapped too long. The hive waited. Lights flickered on in segments, revealing a staging room with wide windows. Through the glass, high above, a city skyline stretched under hazy sky, Raccoon City, calm and ignorant of what churned beneath its streets. The mercenaries moved to an elevator bank. One jabbed the call button. The doors opened onto a severed cable, snapped like a tendon. "Cut," the mercenary muttered. One's jaw clenched. Stairs. The stairwell door stood to the side, marked with emergency signage. Beyond, concrete steps dropped away in a spiral that seemed to descend into the planet's gut. Zheng stepped onto the first flight and felt the distance in his knees immediately. The descent was a barely controlled fall made of steps. He checked his watch again. Topped off 8:37. The glasses girl moved closer to Jie. When he looked at her, she didn't apologize. They descended. Footsteps hammered concrete. Breath grew ragged. The mercenaries maintained pace with irritating ease. Alice didn't even seem winded. Behind Zheng, the middle-aged woman was already wheezing. The chubby man's face had gone blotchy red. A dozen flights down, the woman's breathing hitched. "Wait, just a second." "Don't stop," Zheng said. God help her, she tried. Her hand slid along the railing, but after another handful of flights, she sagged to her knees. The chubby man looked at her, then at the mercenaries pulling ahead. Panic flashed across his face. "Get up!" he shouted. "Get up!" Jie didn't turn around. "Leave her!" The woman tried to rise, stumbled. The chubby man hesitated, then stumbled forward, abandoning her. Zheng glanced back once. She was on her hands and knees, face pale, mouth working silently. Then she was too far behind to see. The stairwell continued down as their footsteps echoed. A wet, thunderous detonation from above. Zheng flinched. Red mist drifted down the stairwell, blood spray spattering the steps like rain. "Keep moving," Jie said. The teenage boy made a choking sound but kept descending. Zheng's legs moved automatically, his conscious mind still several seconds behind. They descended further. The chubby man was falling back now, red-faced and gasping. "Faster!" Jie called. "I can't!" The man tried, genuinely tried. His body simply wouldn't comply. He fell out of sight, and soon after there came another detonation, another settling mist. Zheng's hands trembled on the railing. His hollow life seemed very far away now, but beneath the terror something else stirred, something that had been dormant so long he'd forgotten its name. His heart was pounding. His senses were razor-sharp. His mind was calculating times, probabilities, survival. "This is what it feels like," he thought. For the first time in years, Jiang Jia was alive. The stairs descended into darkness, and he followed them down, staying within the invisible boundary that separated existence from annihilation. The timer kept counting. The hive waited below.